Any who are familiar with our Prestige collection know how much we love a good Range Rover, and it would appear, based on how quickly they leave the collection, that you do too. And this one, in this particular choice of colour combination, and certainly for its spec, a top spec facelift Autobiography Dynamic, a 2019 shaped Range Rover Sport in particular, of course, is a truly stunning looking car. You would think that silver would be a fairly normal looking colour on most vehicles, but it may well be that you don't see many Range Rovers in this colour, and the real cherry on the cake is that it has that matching roof colour as well. Most are in black, but something about that silver on silver with lighter tone leather, it's a fantastic looking car. What's even more fantastic though is definitely the value for money, because as we said, it is a 2019 car, so it benefits from all of the updates in terms of interior spec, of course efficiency, it's got a laughably low road tax cost, which is a fantastic advantage these days, and all of this is significantly lower than it was when new, that's for sure, at under £35,000. And that, not only for an Autobiography, and of course we'll get into all of the massive spec in a second of what that means in practice, is also a 3-litre SD V6, which is our best seller for this generation of Range Rover, which means obviously fantastic power, even better torque, which of course equates to pulling power, and fantastic fuel efficiency compared to what you would think a Range Rover could be capable of. One of the best things about this car though is actually its mileage. It's only covered 48,000, which is a lot lower than many on the market, in some cases even newer Range Rovers, and that is for reference about 9,000 less than the average even for a 2019 shape such as this one is. As mentioned, of course, it is finished in silver, rhodium silver in particular. Of course, it has service history, which you can peruse at your leisure as well. Still has its original 2 keys and book pack intact, and in particular, its ownership history is about as good as you could possibly want from a vehicle like this. Its original keeper was Land Rover themselves, and it's only had one other keeper since for 5 years straight. So clearly they have loved the car, and its condition shows that as well. To get to its engine though, that 3-litre gives you 300 horsepower, which certainly is no slouch in terms of performance, but even more importantly 520 foot-pounds of torque, which is a colossal amount of pulling power. And what it means in practice is not just pulling power, which of course it does have if you need it. It means effortless acceleration, particularly when you pull away off the line, fantastic for overtaking, but also it actually means better fuel economy, because particularly if you have a high torque diesel engine, such as of course this one is, it means the engine is never working that hard. You can put your foot down, you're barely turning any revs, and that means far better fuel economy as well as performance, and this is a prime example. You would assume that a Range Rover would do well to reach even 20 miles per gallon, but one of these can average as high as 30, and on the motorway as high as around 37, 38 in fact, which is fantastic for a vehicle with this kind of space, this kind of road presence. You really do feel like you dominate the road. It's a commanding feeling driving this generation of either Range Rover, or in this case of course the Range Rover Sport. To return to the point of its tax though, that is quite hilarious on one of these, because even with that kind of power and efficiency, and certainly its physical size, it's £190 a year, which in many cases is cheaper than certain executive saloons, let alone other 4x4s. We have to of course return to the point of being an Autobiography, because what that means in terms of spec, well, it requires a deep breath, because of course it comes with that Meridian sound system, plus Bluetooth, built-in Wi-Fi, that pair of Pro Duo 10-inch touch screens, 360-degree parking aid, with of course that visual representation, the rear camera in particular, and front and rear sensors. It comes with adaptive cruise control, plus Q Assist on that as well. Of course, LED front and rear lights, the up-front cooler box inside the cabin, heated front and rear seats, cooling seats in the front as well, heated steering wheel, of course that power opening and closing tailgate, triple zone climate control, electronic air suspension, which of course is one of the key reasons why this generation of Range Rover is such a smooth, comfortable car to ride in. And naturally the rear seats are of course ISOFIX ready for the kids. So across the board you have all of the advantages of the pedigree of Range Rover, the kind of status which these have, the associated luxury and kit, but at the same time a huge saving over what they were when new, still in fantastic condition, superb mileage, very few keepers, and these looks, which are surprisingly rare given just how classy it is in this colour combination. So as always, if you would of course like to reach out and get in touch regarding this Autobiography Range Rover Sport, naturally you could send us an email to the address shown right here on screen, or of course give us a call on 01749 871 155 or on our mobile number of 07482 267 439.